and some more numbers. The cafe ketchup incident is a textbook example of a violent crime carried out in aid of racketeering enterprises, directed at silencing oppositions, punishing public challenges, and preserving the defendant Fat Joe's authority. Like other retaliation acts committed by the Cartegena enterprise, it served the dual purpose of enforcing loyalty and reinforcing fear-based control. This incident is one of several acts of violence directly attributed to Fat Joe's orders. It forms a critical part of the pattern of racketeering activity supporting liability under 18 U.S.C. Predicate Act number 6, attempted assault on rapper Mack Maine. As a part of the Cartegena's enterprise ongoing pattern of violent enforcement, Fat Joe issued a directive to assault Jermaine Anthony Prayon, professionally known as Mack Maine, a prominent hip-hop artist affiliated with the Young Money music label. According to TA, Fat Joe told him in no uncertain terms that Mack Maine had crossed the line and needed to be pounded out. The order was delivered in the same coded enforcement language Fat Joe routinely used to trigger physical attacks on perceived adversaries. Though he never carried out the demand because the opportunity never presented itself, TA understood the directive as a mandatory and dangerous to refuse. TA reasonably believed that declining to act on order will result in retaliation, including loss of employment, social isolation, or physical violence. This attempted act of retaliatory violence qualifies as predicate offense because it reflects criminal solicitation, conspiracy in the second degree, and where applicable, criminal attempt or solicitation, aggravated battery. The order further supports liability under 18 U.S.C. 59A3 as an act of solicited violence in the aid of racketeering and constitutes racketeering activity under 1961A. This incident illustrates that the Cartegena Enterprises method of intimidation were not limited to anonymous victims or unknown rivals, but extended into the commercial music industry and involved high-profile figures. Fat Joe's expectation that TA would carry out the assault demonstrates the internal pressure and threat structure that govern the enterprise's conduct. Predicate Act number 7, money laundering and tax evasion. Defendant Cartegena engaged in an extensive multi-year scheme to evade federal and state tax obligations and to launder proceeds derived from racketeering activity, including performance revenue, fraudulent retail transactions, and the coerced labor of TA. Following his 2013 conviction in the District of New Jersey for failing to file income tax returns, defendant Cartegena began employing more sophisticated methods to disguise his income and avoid detection. According to the DOJ indictment and press release, Fat Joe failed to report over $3.7 million in income, including from his own company, Terror Squad Productions, FJTS Corp., and Miramar Music Touring. After serving a 4-month federal sentence, defendant Cartegena resumed receiving cash payments from international performances up to $500,000 per show in Asia and Africa, which were never reported on tax returns. Defendant Cartegena used shell companies' nominee accounts and false invoices to further obscure the source and amount of his income. Defendant Cartegena also channeled cash through intermediaries, personal accounts, and retail operations, including the Upnyc store, to hide revenue and facilitate bulk structuring. Further than the Upnyc retail storefront, he created fake contracts to claim fraudulent deductions, issue false 1099 to contractors, laundered funds, processed cash-only transactions and ghost inventory, and distributed cash to enterprise enforcers and insiders, including Pistol Pete, without recording disbursements or issuing tax forms. Based on information and belief, Fat Joe failed to report income from music publishing, touring, merchandising, and promotional brand deals, and intentionally used third-party nominees to insulate himself from IRS scrutiny. Defendant Cartegena openly boasted to TA and others about defeating the federal government attempts to prosecute him, claiming the feds can never catch me, and released an album cover that depicted a stylized federal interrogation room and deliberate mockery of his prior criminal exposure. These acts constitute federal tax evasion under 26 USC, money laundering, spending criminal proceeds, New York criminal tax fraud, Florida tax fraud, and failure to report taxable income under Florida state. These offenses qualify as racketeering activity under 18 USC 1961 and confirm that Cartegena Enterprise relied on systematic financial concealment to operate across the state and international lines while shielding the defendant from liability. Defendant Cartegena's conduct reflects a sophisticated, calculated, and post-conviction effort to obscure enterprise revenue, avoid legal accountability, retain proceeds from trafficking, commercial fraud, and labor exploitation, fund enforcement, mechanics. What is this? I believe that's mechanic influence. Let me make sure. Mechanism, a system of parts working together in a machine. Fund enforcement mechanisms within the enterprise. Example, paying associates, distributing hush money, maintaining loyalty through cash transfers. Predicate Act number 8, commercial fraud and unfair competition. That's kind of similar to the last one. I'm going to skip over that. Defendant Cartegena intimidated Barbie. Oh, wait. I don't know if I want to skip that. I'll just get to the Upnyc commercial fraud scheme operated in a tandem with the enterprise's acts of physical intimidation and retaliation and retail enforcement. Defendant ordered staff to pound out Scotty, the co-founder of Upnyc. A Dominican teen was violently assaulted after stealing merchandise. A female Latina employee was repeatedly sexually assaulted while working for Fat Joe's Upnyc stores. On one occasion, TA personally witnessed a terror squad member and employee of NYC kick this employee under the table while referring to her as a bitch and a hoe. This ain't good, bro. Defendant Fat Joe intimidated Barbie, a female